Over the first weekend of its release, Avengers Endgame has broken records, made history with $1.2 billion in profits. And Bernie Sanders has an idea of where Disney might want to put some of those profits. He tweeted, "What would be truly heroic is if Disney used its profits from Avengers to pay all of its workers a middle-class wage instead of its CEO Bob Iger $65.6 million, over 1,400 times as much as the average worker at Disney makes." Look, if you've been paying attention to these stats over the past couple of decades, you probably know that the average worker makes a smaller and smaller fraction of what the CEO does, but even I didn't think it had gotten up to 1,400 times the disparity between the CEO and worker when it comes to Disney, an incredibly wealthy and successful corporation, by the way, that has less excuse than others for this sort of inequality between its lowest and highest workers. And here is why Bernie Sanders is talking about Disney. Now, obviously, in the past year or two, he's been working out with some of the workers at Disney to help them when they were striking. Some success there. The issue is that Disney, which has previously in the California, like Southern California area, has been the beneficiary of a number of different subsidies and tax incentives and things like that. They ran up against a new regulation. And so there's a new ordinance that would require large companies that receive municipal tax breaks to pay workers $15 an hour. That number will eventually go up to $18 an hour by 2022 and keep pace with inflation thereafter. That number, by the way, is even less than the average salary of the Chase tellers that are such an issue that we were talking about earlier in the show, but it is at least something, and it's the result of activists, workers' rights activists, and politicians like Bernie Sanders working incredibly hard to get us to that point. And Disney says, nope, we're not going to pay them that amount, even if it means that we have to stop taking these subsidies and tax incentives. We will throw that money away because we don't want to set the precedent that we should pay our workers a living wage. And to give you an idea of how easy it would be for them to pay the average Disney worker an equitable wage, take a look at a recent quote from this is Abigail Disney, granddaughter of co-founder Roy Disney, who recently said about that CEO, "I like Bob Iger. Let me be very clear, I think he's a good man, but I think he's allowing himself to go down a road that is the road everyone is going down. When he got his bonus last year, I did the math, and I figured out that he could have given personally, out of pocket, a 15% raise to everyone who worked at Disneyland and still walked away with $10 million. And she added that there is such a thing as people who have too much money. So look, that's Disneyland, that's just one executive's salary. But imagine the massive profits that they are getting off of just one of their properties, Endgame. Right now, it is not only gonna have that record-breaking first weekend, I'm willing to bet its second and third and fourth weekends are gonna be pretty good too. And yet, even as they are racking in more and more money, and Disney is about as wealthy as media companies come, they are doing everything they can to avoid having to pay their workers, the people who make all of this possible, an equitable and fair wage. But thankfully, there are people like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren who are watching this, and hopefully they will soon have the power and authority to make sure that workers get what they deserve. Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.